And now we have on our show Mike Aucoin. And Mike is a pretty interesting guy. I've met Mike. Mike has a comedy TV show about local permitting boards on a fictitious massive permit island. And Mike actually has quite a bit of experience with the local boards, being the owner of a A&M land surveying company for 20 years. Mike, welcome to the show. Mike Aucoin.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. And so, Mike, tell us a little bit about this comedy on C3 TV.
That's correct. It's shown on local public television, and we're going to be pushing it throughout right up through the South Shore on all the community channels. And you can also view our show on our website at www.yourcommunitywebsites.com.
So basically, I mean, I've watched the show, and of course, I see the audience, realtors, attorneys, homeowners, anybody who's ever had to go before a local board. I think you have in one of your descriptions of the TV show, most applicants that go before this wonderful board find it truly difficult to achieve the simplest of tasks.
Well,
been there, done that.
In our history, it seems like the simplest always seem to be hardest, and the hardest ones seem to be the simplest, and that's how our characters were developed. We have seven board members, and they all have different personalities, and it's very interesting to see their reactions to some of these very simple applications.
It's really quite an interesting concept with respect to, what's going on today. That you watch the show on your computer, on the internet.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the website that people go to is
www.yourcommunitywebsites.com. And what we did was we evolved the website. Since we were filming in the community, we figured we would try to help out the community, and we created yourcommunitywebsites.com. So that community members could post local events. We have other local producers with their shows on there.
Mm-hmm.
We have local discounts from merchants who are trying to and helping out the community. So it's very, very community driven.
It's almost like a social networking page for the communities, and it centers around some of a lot of the community activities, as well as the local community TV.
Absolutely. The people at Cape Cod Community Media Center are wonderful. I would definitely have not been able to create what I did without the help of Julia, Ivan, Tom, and David, and Terry down there. And some of the shows we have on our particular website is some of their shows. Actually, Julia from Cape Cod Community Media Center is up for an Emmy for one of her shows at this moment.
Oh, terrific.
She's an amazing producer.
Well, I've gone on and watched a couple of the shows. I forget the name of it, but it's someone's trying to paint their house.
That's correct. A woman's been before the board for a year now, and trying to get a permit.
I'm laughing, but this is serious stuff. It happens, doesn't it?
And they keep asking her what color they're going to paint it, and she keeps saying white. Well,
is that not an approved color?
Well, they want to know what color white. It is a funny premise, and one of the parts of the show, she does bring her painter on webcam to try to explain the color white, but unfortunately he doesn't speak English.
Now, Brian, you've probably had, as Brian Cobb from Century 21 Cobb Real Estate, you've probably had some opportunities to go before the local boards or have some projects.
Without a doubt, Margie. It's a real different situation over there. And when the board, when they ask me what color I'm gonna paint the house, I always say antique white. Because it makes everybody happy, especially on 6A, they want everything antique. So you go with the antique white and everybody's happy.
Well, Mike, you've got these characters, of course, and one of my favorites is Richard Asman. And you have to be careful how you say Asman, it's A-S-Z-M-A-N. But anyway, there's a little play on words there. And he's the local retired building inspector who's on the board.
We thought that name would be kind of fitting, since some of our applicants do misspell it or mistake it when they say the word, and
And of course, you've been to boards all over the Cape, so we're not gonna, some of these characters, probably there's some fiction, or truth to some of these characters in a roundabout way, but we're not gonna say what boards or what towns, right?
no, it's really not a story. It's not a show about any particular board. It's actually, we call it the Island Permitting Board, so that we're not really
Right.
focusing on any particular board. And the show was basically created while I was sitting at a conservation meeting one night, and just tried to. I realized that this is sort of a funny bunch of characters. So I wrote a little short story, sent it off to the Library of Congress, and the next thing you know, we had a show.
Good for you. And I mean, it is really, I mean, you're the local color.